Zalete, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you. Or wonders they say shall never cease to happen. And our leaders will never cease to amaze us anyway. The president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also made his way to the Africa CEO Forum. And you know how these leaders always have the solution of Africa in speech. And always we're asking our leaders, why is it that when it comes to the implementation of whatever that they sit down to discuss, it becomes a problem? Tinubu, once again, like any other African leader who knows the solution to the African problem, once again decided to tell Africans what they think it is best. We need to trade among ourselves, create a platform whereby instead of sending our things into Europe, we do it here. It is even more expensive to export things within Africa, like Aliko Dangote said, but it is easier or cheaper to bring it from Europe. So we need to stop all these things. And as Africans, we need to protect our resources. We need to be trading. If this country has this, we need to get it from there. We need to trade more among ourselves because according to Tinubu, every country in Africa has something special that another country will need. So why do we have to look out for something that we have inside? And this is how Africa, we can break the chain and also rise. But when he was asked, he that is proposing this platform, why won't he start so that other people would join? He was like, you mean? That was where the problem began. So it means that these our leaders only know how to solve the problem of the African in speech and not in real life. Or maybe they are not just ready to implement anything. Theirs is to come and sit down. I think when he was saying that, he never expected the journalist to tell him that he can also start it, because we need something to be started. If African Union collectively, when they meet in their summit, cannot just create that platform, Nigeria, that he said is a giant and he's speaking on behalf of all Africans, should be able to create that platform and other people will join. We saw the leader who knows all the problems and knows all the solutions to these problems right there. Our leaders are not ready to take the bold step like the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. And we can clearly see the reason to which the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso decided to move away from them. Before this, the ECOWAS chairperson Julius Maada Bio also made a statement at Davos. After everything that he has said, he told the world that Africans, the leaders, are protecting borders instead of protecting the people. Tinubu confirmed what the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have been saying.
You know, I think it was you or maybe President Oligui Nguema who mentioned monetary union and how the euro has got the euro. So if Europe's got the euro, when will Africa get the afro?
Nigeria, I'll say, and speaking for Africa, as African champion, putting our spirit behind what we talk about is creating a platform. Look around the entire continent, 54 countries. There's none of us without a particular commodity available in the country or the other. Why not start an exchange commodity platform where we can trade with one another?
Well, why don't you start one?
You say?
Why don't you start the commodity exchange you're talking about? But we're talking continent-wide here.
Removing all the bottlenecks, giving you necessary incentives for direct foreign investment into the country. This year alone, I can beat my chest that Nigeria is attracting close to $20 billion foreign direct investments. It's because unwind the bottlenecks, be efficient, be transparent, be open. There's no intellectual capacity that is deniable by the rest of the world.
Okay.
For me, Africa needs to put its money where its mouth is.
Would you put your microphone where your mouth is? Yeah. Thank you.
We need to put our money where our mouth is and develop a relationship. Luckily, we have African trade agreement that should not be left on the drawing board, should be activated properly. Regional collaboration and effective utilization of our resources. Not working in silos, but in collaboration with one another, using what we have. To me, I believe in Africa first, because I've started Nigeria first. And all resources, today, we don't want scavengers. We don't want extractors. We want people to add value. If you're an investor, we will encourage you to add value to what we have as a nation before that is. That's it.
Thank you. We'll come to Africa moving up the value chain, but I'll just come to President Oligui Nguema of Gabon, just to ask him really.
Be in the 21st century class of communication.
Okay, so just really, I mean, it would be remiss of me not to mention the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which sort of came into being in earnest in 2021, and it very much embodies the kind of Pan-African spirit and, domestic resource mobilization, looking at yourselves and the continent in order to prosper. But we are starting from a very low base. 18% of intra-African trade in Africa is intra-African. Are you optimistic?
I am very optimistic. We have a very dynamic, youthful population, restless and not ready to take excuses. I'm a politician. If I don't get them ready for that, they will vote me out.
I was talking to one of the delegates here, Ebenezer Asante from MTN, and he said to me, if you get the chance to ask the president, say to them, listen, politics always gets in the way of integration, is what he said.
Yes.
He's right.
He's right.
Yeah. But you're the politician, you can do something about that and use your influence across the continent.
A politician is a critical member of your society. He must listen to you, respond to you, and answer to the public, can be accountable.
President,
I agree with you. Investment is very cowardly unless you are transparent, accountable, and forthright. And part of that element is Africa looking at itself, making sure that we can put these resources together and go out there and negotiate for ourselves. To me, I wrote an article in the Financial Times talking about international rating agencies. What do they know about Rwanda? Have they visited Rwanda and seen the potential tourism of this country?
And its growth last year of 9.4%.
9.4%. And if you don't leverage that one in value creation, how can Rwanda benefit?
Well, why don't you get your own African credit rating agency? Because the big American three, Fitch, S&P, and Moody's, they dominate 95% of the market.
We're doing that. That is why we recapitalize all our financial institutions.
Because they give Africa consistently low ratings.
You have to help yourself. Now, no one can take metal out of Nigeria without adding value. No one. Gone were the days where you can excavate the dust, all the minerals, and go. No. I can produce battery for cars with my metals. Rare earth mineral is valuable. But if a Mobil, a Total, a Shell, we value what is on the ground as a balance sheet item capable of funding and raising capital that is necessary for the exploration and production of my resources, why not do it for me too?
But and I'll put this to both of you.
With the crisis around the world, particularly Iran conflict, Nigeria won't be able to survive with over 200 million people in peace without a refinery. And what a risk taker like a Dangote refinery must be encouraged by the government and power. What I did, support him, gave him free trade zone license, support him in the effort to source the crude that is necessary. And today he is the exporter, net exporter of both the PMS, aviation fuel, and other commodities.
Yeah, we heard that he's favouring all the African carriers, Ethiopian Airlines and so on, for the aviation fuel that's in great demand. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But he's producing 650,000 barrels per day, which is only enough for 70% of Nigeria's needs. So he's still a little bit away from being able to export refined oil, petrol to his neighbours.
Yes. And it's been supported. My own formula is, like I said, put your money where your mouth is. When they're about to start the crisis, say, okay, what is the denominated currency in Nigeria? That is Naira. I have crude that you expect me to export in dollar. So I give you, as my local refinery, I give you crude in Naira. No letter of credit, no bank scrambling, and exchange rate instability.
Are we a problem? You meant, the cross-border payments, which means, African countries don't have to convert to USD and so on. So that, very good, the cross-border payments and so on. But just very quickly as an aside, I mean, I think it was you or maybe President Oligi Nguema who mentioned monetary union and how the euro has got the euro. So if Europe's got the euro, when will Africa get the afro?
Nigeria, I would say, and speaking for Africa as African champion, putting our spirit behind what we talk about is creating a platform. Look around the entire continent, 54 countries. There's none of us without a particular commodity available in the country or the other. Why not start an exchange commodity platform where we can trade with one another?
Well, why don't you start one?
You say?
Why don't you start the commodity exchange you're talking about?
These leaders are not there in the interest of the people. They are there to protect their own interests and to serve the foreign interests. If not, what is preventing you, the leaders who know everything, knows the solution to the problems of Africa? Why must you continue to be singing the songs? Why not do it? If you, Tinubu, is talking about ABC, why not create a platform? The way Tinubu even responded to that tells everything. We need to wake up. We need to start listening to what they say and look at what they are doing. The actions are what matters. And that's why everybody is hailing the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. That is the main reason to which Emmanuel Macron was in Kenya and was praising ECOWAS, because the ECOWAS leaders will only gather and talk, and that they have to move away from ECOWAS, move away from the globe. But ECOWAS is doing fine. And one time Thomas Sankara told us that when you see or hear any Western leader praising an African leader, you should know that person, it don't condemn you, it don't finish you. He's doing nothing. So Macron will use these people as an example. Macron even went ahead to tell us that he's a true Pan-Africanist, just like William Ruto. Why not like Traore, Waiter or Chiani? Because he knows that all these leaders only know what to do in speech. They will never back their words with actions. So these are the kind of leaders they want in Africa. And that is why when they get the platform, they can talk to these leaders anyhow that they want, but will never act. And the leaders do not have any problem whenever they talk, because these people, like Captain Ibrahim Traore said, even before African Union issue a statement concerning things that has to do with Africa, the script must be given to them. So sometimes maybe it could be that they write, so when they come and even say nothing happens. Because if you listen to Tinubu, the things that Tinubu brought, the solutions, and Tinubu himself that is proposing these things finds it difficult to act, then there's a long way for us to go. And we know very well we cannot leave the future of Africa in the hands of these people. The problem right now is the youth of Africa. The way they succeeded in pushing our attention to one particular thing or things that has nothing to do with us. And these are the trends that Africans are following. Like Captain Ibrahim Traore said, when it comes to innovation, they will never sponsor. When it comes to this, they will never sponsor. When it comes to entertainment, when it comes to things that will not change the African, you see that they push, they sponsor, they do this. And they have succeeded in pushing us in that direction that the youth love. A lot of us don't even have time to listen to things that will change us. People don't care about what happens in the continent. What I am interested in is iPhone. The women are naked. The women are doing this. Somebody did that. Unnecessary things. That is the saddest part when it comes to the struggle of Africa. In this our generation, what they have turned us into is so sad. But we'll keep pushing no matter what. Until a day will come that Africa, at least 60% of us, will wake up. We are the only ones that can set ourselves to be united. We stand divided before, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Nigeria.